In the shadowy corridors of the Vatican, where the scent of incense mixed with the whispers of scandal, one name echoed louder than the rest: Lucrezia Borgia. Born into one of the most infamous families in history, Lucrezia was not just a pawn in her father's political games. She was a young woman whose beauty and allure captivated the hearts and minds of Renaissance Italy. Yet her life was far from a fairy tale. It was a twisted saga of power, intrigue, and scandal that left a lasting mark on the annals of history. Lucrezia Borgia was born in 1480, the daughter of Rodrigo Borgia, who would later become Pope Alexander VI, and his mistress Venezia de Catane. From a young age, Lucrezia was groomed to be a tool in her father's ambitious plans. Her beauty, often described as ethereal, was both a blessing and a curse. With her long golden hair that reached her feet and an innocent expression that belied the turmoil of her life, she was the perfect image of a Renaissance beauty. But beneath this facade lay a complex and often troubled soul. Lucrezia's early life was marked by a series of scandalous marriages and rumors that would follow her throughout her life. At the age of 13, she was married to Giovanni Sforza, a member of a powerful Milanese family. This union was not born out of love, but was a strategic move by her father to strengthen his political alliances. However, the marriage was short-lived. When the political landscape shifted, Pope Alexander VI, using his papal authority, had the marriage annulled. This act of annulment was not without controversy, as it was rumored that the real reason for the dissolution was that the Pope wanted his daughter for himself. The scandalous rumors of incest spread like wildfire, tarnishing Lucrezia's reputation and making her a figure of both fascination and derision. Despite the scandal, Lucrezia's beauty and charm continued to captivate those around her. She was said to have inherited her father's lustiness at an early age, and her tales of her sexual exploits had made her a Roman legend long before she became the Duchess of Ferrara at the age of 21. Her most spectacular feature was her long golden hair, which she cared for using a formula from a book called Esperimenti, compiled by Caterina Sforza. This mixture of honey, black sulfur, and alum was said to enhance the beauty of her hair, giving it a shade called Philodoro. Left to her own devices in the Palazzo of Santa Maria in Portico, built near the Vatican by Battista Cardinal Zeno, Lucrezia is reported to have spent her time between marriages making an obsessive study of dalliance, seeking to expand the outer limits of lewd pleasure. All the situations, positions, and groupings of participants found in pornographic books and films have been attributed to Lucrezia's lustful imagination. But there must have been more to it than that. The men around her were dissolute. Knowing that they regarded her as a sex object, and wanting to be what they wanted her to be, she may have cultivated debasement. To the degree to which that is true, the consequences for the men in her immediate family, her father and two brothers, were to be both profound and sensational. One of the most notorious figures in the Borgia family was Cesare Borgia, Lucrezia's elder brother. Born in 1475, Cesare was a cardinal who later became a multiple murderer, while still wearing the robes of a prince of the church. His homicidal career began in his youth, and continued until the day he himself was slain in a skirmish outside Vienna. Cesare was a complex figure, dapper, eloquent, and erudite, but also cruel and perfidious. He was a master of the cruel, perfidious politics of his time, and is often considered the model for Niccolò Machiavelli's Il Principe. Machiavelli could not approve of Cesare, but he found him fascinating. The qualities that made Cesare so compelling were hardly endearing. The circumstances surrounding the death of Cesare's elder brother, Juan, Duke of Gandia, are the murkiest in the annals of the sinister Borgia family and impossible to confirm. In 1497, the Pope, manipulating his daughter in his remarkable fashion, decided to divorce her from Sforza. Knowing his father-in-law, Lucrezia's first husband fled Rome, fearing for his life. In Milan, however, he seethed. The Pope had publicly called him impotent, a grave insult in Italy. Sforza, who later fathered children, shouted out what all Rome suspected but none had dared whisper, that the Borgia Pope's real motive was incestuous, that he wanted his captivating daughter, not remarried, but active in his own bed. Even for those times, this was scandalous. The rejected husband's family was powerful enough to protect him, which made the pontiff's position extremely awkward. If he kept Lucrezia near the Vatican and discouraged suitors, no one in Rome would doubt that he was spending his nights in her bed. Intimations of lecherous desire on his part were accurate. His daughter had just turned 17 and was at the height of her beauty. We now know that he was in fact her lover. Whether or not that was known in Milan is another question. In any event, he didn't brave it out, which would have been in character. Instead, he hastily prepared to find a new, politically suitable husband for her. Here, however, the tale darkens. Romans had scarcely absorbed the news that the father lusted for his daughter when they heard even more shocking gossip. Lucrezia was said to be unavailable to her father because she was already deeply involved in another incestuous relationship, or relationships a triangular entanglement with both her handsome brothers. The difficulty, it was whispered, was that although she enjoyed coupling with both of them, each jealous of the other wanted his sister for himself. On the morning of June 15, 1497, Juan's corpse was found floating in the Tiber, mutilated by 9 savage dagger wounds. Cesare's guilt was immediately assumed. He was a killer, and known to be jealous of his brother for other reasons, and the longer the mystery remained unsolved, the more certain his guilt seemed. History may take another view. Juan, like all Borgias, had other enemies, but myth has a significance all its own. At the time, the only Borgia to emerge unscathed was Lucrezia, whose reputation by then was beyond redemption. Lucrezia's next marriage was to Alfonso of Aragon, Duke of Bisegli, a union arranged by her father to strengthen his alliance with the Kingdom of Naples. However, this marriage too was short-lived. In 1500, Alfonso was attacked and severely wounded by unknown assailants. He was later strangled in his bed, and once again, Cesare Borgia was suspected. The political motivations behind the murder were clear, as the Borgias were in the process of solidifying their power in Italy, and Alfonso's family was a threat to their ambitions. After the death of Alfonso, Lucrezia was married to Alfonso d'Este, Duke of Ferrara, in 1502. This marriage was a turning point in her life. In Ferrara, she found a more stable and supportive environment. She became a patron of the arts, a role that allowed her to leave behind the scandalous reputation that had followed her from Rome. She surrounded herself with artists, poets, and musicians, and her court became a center of cultural and intellectual activity. Her beauty, once a source of scandal, now became a symbol of grace and elegance. Despite the many challenges and scandals that marked her early life, Lucrezia Borgia managed to reinvent herself in Ferrara. She became a respected and beloved duchess, known for her intelligence, charm, and cultural contributions. Her life was a testament to the resilience and adaptability of a woman who had been shaped by the turbulent and often dark world of Renaissance politics. In the end, Lucrezia Borgia's legacy is complex. She was a product of her time, a woman who navigated the dangerous waters of power and scandal with a grace and resilience that continue to fascinate us today. Her story is a blend of beauty and tragedy, of love and lust, of ambition and survival. Whether viewed as a victim of her circumstances or a master of her own destiny, Lucrezia Borgia remains one of the most enigmatic and intriguing figures in history.